Now we're going back into the DCEU
We
for
are?
part 11.
Okay, well, this is a different
We watched
one.
Peacemaker.
This is a television
Because
show.
this is canon.
Everything else we've watched has been a movie.
This is an HBO Max original series, but it's after they did the Suicide Squad, James Gunn wanted to do this Peacemaker show. So they said, okay, let's do it. Because Suicide Squad was really good, but no one went to go see it. Didn't find an audience. However, this show at the time, became the biggest show in the world. Okay? So this was a huge hit for Warner Brothers.
James Gunn, The Suicide Squad. It's very similar.
Yeah, and it continues on the story for this character, Peacemaker, played by John Cena. So it's an 8 episodes. The first season is 8 episodes, and they're less than an hour. So I found that was pretty good length. It currently has a 94% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes and an 89% audience score. So people are loving this.
I think the 89 is low. Listen, it's not for kids, though, and it is violent. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. So we're going to spoil this, as we do for all our stuff.
Okay. Well, we don't need to talk about everything that happens in it, but I think it was great. It's really funny. It's got a lot going on. There's mystery to it, and it's really stupid.
The opening sequence? People really love that.
Yeah, I rewatched it every time. I love Eagly. He's my favorite.
People liked Eagly. Also, who does the voice for Eagly is D. Bradley Baker, and he's all the clones in the Star Wars animated shows.
Oh, yeah.
He does all the clones, including all of the Bad Batch.
Eagly doesn't talk. He just hugs.
Peacemaker's in it. He's exactly as how he was in the Suicide Squad. He's douchebag Captain America. But it's interesting, he feels really bad because, spoilers, in the Suicide Squad, he kills Rick Flag.
Yeah.
And now he feels really bad about it.
He's not like that other guy that was douchebag.
So he's conflicted.
You're thinking, like, when Captain America, that other guy comes in and tries to speak.
Oh, yeah, John Walker.
He is a douchebag. No, this is a different thing.
Yeah, this is a different thing. But also very similar to something else that we're watching recently, Secret Invasion.
Similar story, but I think this one's doing it in a different way. It's funny.
It's taking a wacky, ridiculous, over-the-top comic book story of alien butterflies from space, and they're invading, and they're taking over.
Let's not say everything, but they take over your brain.
This is spoilers, and this is for our Into the DCU things. We gotta talk about this as much as possible.
People might not have seen it. Okay? I think it's just really funny, and it's
ridiculous, but they do it in such a way that it's scary at times, but also it's ridiculously funny. Because James Gunn likes to put lots of humor in his stuff, and that's how you can have a wacky, ridiculous story. If you had this without the humor, you'd be like, this is nonsense.
Yeah,
but when you have lots of humor,
most of the DC stuff.
But when you put in lots of humor and you're laughing constantly, you can get away with so much. Okay, you can get away with this. I mean, the first episode, he's in a fight. He's in his tighty whities again because John Cena loves to run around in his tighty whities. He's a bodybuilder. They want people to look at him.
Pants.
So he's running around in his tighty whities and he's fighting this alien chick. Remember that? And then she turns out to be a butterfly, but he doesn't know that.
Cheetah. I was like, this is what Cheetah should have looked like. That's what Cheetah should have looked like.
I would
in the because that was what the 80s people look like. This is an 80s person, but now
they did that for the first Cheetah encounter.
That should have been what Cheetah looked like anyway.
So John Cena's in this race. He's constantly cracking jokes. He's got a douchebag father played by Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
Who's great. He's just this old, angry, racist.
Terrible.
Okay, fascist. And he's got another old guy who's his neighbor who you think is a dick, but now you think it makes sense.
They could have done more with the neighbor.
Listen,
it's funny.
Yeah, they could have. He was in the opening sequence.
Yeah.
But if your neighbor was a hardcore right-wing fascist racist like this guy, I'd probably be a dick to him and anyone going there too.
They could have done more with it. The neighbor could have been a black guy.
He was so bad with the cop, with the Asian cop.
He was just bad overall. He's terrible.
Man.
So.
But I like that they put that in here because it shows this is terrible and it's not acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
And guess what? He's the villain, right? He's the villain. So if don't act like this, right? Which we always encourage people to leave comments, but if you're going to leave some racist or hate speech comment, don't bother because I don't want to hear it. You keep that to yourself.
Yeah, well, I think it's great because Adebayo talks about it. and how she feels about it.
Adebayo, played by Danielle Brooks, so she ends up being Waller's daughter. And we get Waller in this.
Yeah, we do, a little bit.
Viola
but
Davis shows up.
She's not like a main character in it. Anyway, it's fun, it's funny, it's on that line of The Boys again. It's violent, it's not for kids, but it is really funny.
A lot of great jokes in this.
It's not as bad as The Boys. The Boys is kind of over the top for me sometimes. I don't care for that. So this one was more.
But this is great storytelling. If you have HBO, or Max, as they call it now, I would check out Peacemaker. You don't even have to see anything before it. It explains everything.
Yeah. Okay? And if you like Eagles, you'll really like it.
Oh, yeah. Eagle is great. Now we get the High Evolutionary himself. I can't pronounce his name. Chukwudi Iwuji plays Mern.
He was a great casting for that, because he is kind of a mysterious looking fella.
Yeah, so he plays an alien.
Yeah, well, you're giving it all away.
He's in charge of it. This is a spoiler review. Economist, played by Steve Agee.
He's funny.
He's really fun. And it's such a ragtag team. I don't know how these people got involved with this, and they're working for Amanda Waller.
I love Vigilante too. He's so weird. Yeah,
Freddie Stroma. He is hilarious.
And he really lightens it up when it gets heavier. Yeah. He's such
dumb.
A doofus.
So dumb, but he doesn't care. He's like, okay, I'll kill that person. Why not?
Yeah, he's a doofus. But anyway, I thought it was enjoyable. It's fun, and I wish more TV shows were like this, because this is what they're missing, is the humor.
And it's labeled as a comedy, which it is. Yeah. The fact that it's superheroes, and there's 2 great cameos at the end. I'm not going to spoil them, but we get 2 of the Justice League members show up.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing.
4 Justice League members show up, but we only see 2 of them. The rest we just see the silhouettes.
In my
mind, the other 2 aren't there at all.
This is what's wrong with those movies, is that they're way too cool for school. And they're not in reality.
Yeah.
And it's boring.
Yeah, and here they're making fun of it.
It's more real what would happen, and it just makes more sense.
You got people...
And the people are more human.
I mean, you got Peacemaker and Vigilante walking around their ridiculous costumes, and Judo Master. That small guy, man, that guy's a badass, and he's always eating the flaming Cheetos.
I'd like to see more at the end. I was hoping we'd see more of him at the end.
I liked how there's at one point.
I was hoping he was gonna join them.
No, he's not.
Anyway,
he's walking around this ridiculous outfit, and these 2 kids mouth off to him, because if you saw someone wearing that, obviously kids would say something to him, right? And then when they came out, he beat the crap out of them. You got some righteous justice there. You knew those kids were going to get it.
Anyway, it's just funny, and
oh man,
it's more realistic. Because superheroes are they're not. No one can be perfect, and perfect is boring, and that's what this show is.
So every time they do something in it that's like comic book wacky, they make fun of it.
Right.
So here's Judo Master. Well, let's make fun of him. And also he's constantly eating Cheetos, which is hilarious. It becomes a running gag. Flaming hot Cheetos. Yeah. I'm guessing he needs the calories.
No, he just likes them.
Okay. I still think he needs the calories.
He'd be eating lots of chocolate and stuff.
I mean, Peacemaker in his ridiculous outfit, and he has to walk around in that all the time, especially when he leaves the hospital. Robert Patrick is in this ridiculous...
And his hair, it's so funny.
Super villain outfit. When He's the White Dragon.
I said, he looks like a Garbage Pail Kid. And then 10 minutes later or something, they do reference Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah.
In the show, I think that's what they were trying to pull off. That's
not a coincidence.
That was my guess.
I don't know Garbage Pail Kids, so I missed that one.
You don't know Garbage Pail Kids?
Not really.
That's what he looks like, a Garbage Pail Kid.
So, I don't know what White Dragon is from the comics. But when you hear the term White Dragon, I'm like, yeah, that guy sounds like a racist. So they made him into a racist, and he's got all these racist followers.
Oh,
they're all just these fascists.
I think they could have been even dumber.
And they wear those white hoods.
But they got ears on them.
Yeah, so that's remember in the U.S. all those vagina hats that they had there?
No.
Because everyone was upset with Trump and everything.
No.
Anyway, so I think it's supposed to look like that.
No, they're supposed to have the horns, because he has the horns on his
Yeah, but it looks similar to something else, which is the joke you just don't know about because you weren't up to date on that pop culture reference.
Anyway, I think they could have made them even more doofusy, but still, they're a little bit too serious, if you ask me.
They're just constantly making mistakes. It's just like the staff in the Suicide Squad. You just throw in lots of incompetence because they're civil servants, right?
Well, these guys are giving it their 100%. They're not really incompetent. They're just not given much.
But they still make mistakes, and you throw that in, and it's hilarious. Okay? Where Vigilante's trying to get away, but he's got all these helmets, so they're tracking him with it. And the raccoon...
Well, he's just stunned. I called that, too. I called it on the raccoon.
At one point, Robert Patrick and his fascist KKK goons are tracking his helmet, and it just keeps going all over the forest.
That's what I said. I bet you they put it on a raccoon.
Which they did. And then we see Peacemaker later on. He's like, man, those raccoons are vicious. He's just covered in scratches because he had to wrestle the raccoon.
He's like a little bit injured, but he's not really injured until he comes upon the raccoon. I wish we would have seen a little bit of that fur flying or something. That would have been hilarious. That's why they missed opportunity there.
You know what? They probably just had to cut it down for time.
Maybe.
Okay.
But he looked the most injured. Like, he was beaten up with all these people and having all these fights, but the raccoon really did him in.
What about... You know what was funny? They did a torture scene, and it was absolutely hilarious. Okay? Where the bad guy is gonna... He wants information on Peacemaker, so instead of torturing Peacemaker, he tortures Vigilante, and Peacemaker's like... I don't care. You do as much torture as you want. I'm never gonna crack, okay? Meanwhile, Vigilante almost gets his toe cut off.
Almost.
And he's getting his balls shocked. Because they hooked up jumper cables to him.
Anyway, it's just crazy. It's funny. I would watch it, but it's not for kids. Anyway.
So much good stuff in this.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was real fun.
And the cameos that they did... They made sense. They weren't just thrown in there for fan service. No, the whole thing made
sense. It was like a normal show.
When the Justice League shows up, there's a reason why they show up, but they show up late. So he's like, "You're late." He drops a few F-bombs, but he's like, "You're late, effers."
I don't want to swear too much on the show. As the Flash, it didn't even look like him. Was it supposed to be Ezra Miller?
Oh, it was him.
Oh, was it? Didn't look like him. Could have been anybody.
Yeah.
I was wondering
if they ruined one of the cameos then.
Well, you just said the Justice League shows up.
Yeah, 4 members of the Justice League.
Anyway, well, I don't think anyone cared that it was Ezra Miller or not. Anyway,
he ain't gonna be the Flash anymore.
It's funny, it's fun. It's what a lot of these DC movies are completely lacking.
You throw this stuff in here, and all these DC movies would be great because it's such a fun time. But you could also make it more for kids as well, so that kids can enjoy it instead of having all this violence and nudity and
it could have been
very adult language. That's what
it's like on the boys kind of level, although the boys
almost.
Is worse.
Yeah, the boys is way more.
Didn't have to go there, but they don't care. They're HBO. They like to do that.
What kind of rating would you give this?
Well, this one I give this like a 96.
96?
I like this one.
I give this a best movie ever. Definitely.
It's not a movie. It's a show.
Sorry, this show. Anyway,
this is their show. I mean, if they would only have gotten James Gunn to work on some of these other properties.
It's part of the canon for the DCEU. So it doesn't
mean much to me because they changed.
So you really enjoyed it. Was it better than Shazam for you?
No, I like Shazam because it's a movie. Remember, this is a show.
Was this better than the Suicide Squad?
They're the same.
So would you rank Peacemaker higher or lower than that?
It's the same in my mind.
But you got to pick one.
No, I don't pick one. It's a show. It's not a movie. I think that it's on the same as not the Suicide Squad. Get it right too. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, because there's another Suicide Squad movie that's terrible.
It's a bad movie, but we had fun with it. Okay. Anyway, if you enjoyed this segment, give us a thumbs up, please. That would always help us out. And our contact information is down in the description below. So that was part 11 of Into the DCEU.